From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5:30, streaming now.
Now at 5:30, this 12-year-old is hooked on going fast. Coming up, how Crooks nearly put the brakes on his season and why he needs your help right now.
Topping our lineup, the constant spam calls we deal with are adding another challenge to contact tracing. The new tactics health departments are using to get us to pick up. With live music still not happening in many places, venues nationwide are worried they'll have to close for good. What they're pushing for to stay open. While many small businesses are struggling, business for landscapers is booming. We're looking at what's behind the growing demand.
A budding teenage racer is heartbroken after his fast cart was stolen before the championship event at the Indianapolis Speedrome. Carson Smith just wants his racing machine back. More now from WRTV's Rafael Sanchez.
Last time by, here comes Smith now. Brings up high side, 41 Summers down low, Smith up high.
Carson Smith is the one to watch, driving the number 11 junior fast cart. After exploring multiple sports, the 12-year-old is hooked on speed and the roar of the engines. This is his sport.
I like it because it's a lot of fun, meet friends, and you learn. That's kind of why I like it.
This past Saturday, the 7th grader was ready to wrap up his season, but someone stole his custom vehicle, his trailer, and his dream to compete.
I'm really sad.
I mean, it's never okay to take from anybody, but taking away from a 12-year-old boy and like his dream, and it makes you sick. It makes you sad.
While his fast cart remains missing, he was able to save his season with some big help. Fellow driver, 11-year-old Madison Pointer, allowed Carson to use her vehicle so that he would not lose his points for the year. Carson drove Madison's number 14 and ended the season in the top 10.
I just want my car back. That's the only thing I want back. I don't care if we don't get anything back. I just want that car back.
Rafael Sanchez, WRTV.
Carson loves racing. In fact, his stepdad works for a NASCAR pit crew. If you have any information on the number 11 cart, you are being asked to contact Greenwood Police. Kevin.
All about that warmth today. I took Rory Gregory out. I thought we were going on a walk. She just laid down and started soaking up the warmth. Hopefully you had a chance to just enjoy the weather as well. Temperatures tonight will be slow to change in central Indiana. They'll stay rather mild, but still drop almost 30 degrees from where we're at. All of the metro area temperatures, as you can see, lower 80s. As you go south into Morgan, Johnson, Shelby counties, temperatures still pushing mid-80s. The wind, it's noticeable. It will stay 10 to 15 miles per hour with some higher gusts through the early evening. 49. Mostly clear tonight. Temperatures during the day tomorrow back off just a little bit. We'll be in the 70s, mid-70s with sunshine again, so a little cooler. We'll talk about what changes for Thursday and Friday coming up.
Taking a look at the news feed, the federal government is cracking down on hospitals for not reporting complete COVID data. It's supposed to be sent to a federal data collection system. Some of the information hospitals need to submit include the number of patients and ventilators they have. Pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly is requesting emergency authorization from the FDA for a coronavirus treatment. The antibody treatment was derived from a blood sample belonging to a patient who recovered from coronavirus. Eli Lilly wants to use the treatment on higher risk patients. Neurological symptoms are extremely common among some COVID patients. A study in the journal Annals of Clinical and Translational Neurology shows that symptoms can vary from mild to severe. They can include headaches, dizziness, and altered brain function. Patients may continue to experience the symptoms long after recovering. An artificial intelligence tool can help doctors when deciding which COVID-19 patients can be sent home. This is from new results of a study that we first told you about when it started in May. Researchers at NYU used the AI tool to analyze thousands of COVID-19 cases. The team used data from Asia and Europe to develop the model. It uses lab results, vital signs, and oxygen requirements to determine how the patient will do over the next few days. The study has found the AI tool can identify patients that will do well with 90% precision. Now that could help doctors prioritize care and make discharging plans for others. Doctors always make the final call, but the AI tool can help reaffirm their decisions.
it's augmenting, but it's also teaching a little bit, because, you know, when the physicians see a patient that looks well, right, but the model says they may not be well, they can look at the features, right, the vital signs, the labs, and the other things that are saying that this patient isn't well, and then they can start to understand and create a mental model.
The researchers are still running randomized trials for about another 2 months, looking at the average time patients spend in the hospital. The hope is the AI tool could help reduce the length of stay.
That's extremely compelling, because now you don't just show, oh, I have a model that can predict a favorable outcome, but now you have a model, right, that actually affects an outcome.
Another team at NYU is now conducting a survey among doctors that have used the tool. One facility has already implemented it. The researchers wanted to make sure it's easy for other organizations to start, so the software can be up and running in about half a day. Next in our lineup, the constant spam calls we deal with are adding another challenge to contact tracing. The new tactics health departments are using to get us to pick up the phone. When we hear our phone go off and see an unknown number, we're not very likely to answer, but that habit is creating some issues for contact tracers. People are hired to get in touch with anyone who's been in contact with someone who has been diagnosed with COVID. But with people not answering calls from contact tracers, controlling the virus becomes more difficult. But it doesn't mean contact tracers give up.
Some cases when contact tracers call someone and that person is uncomfortable talking to them on the phone. In some counties, they will actually send someone to that person's home to conduct an in-person interview if they are more comfortable doing that.
Even when contact tracers do manage to get someone on the phone, it can be difficult to get information from them. This is a result of all the spam calls trying to scam people. That's why contact tracers say it's all about establishing trust in that cold call.
If you have a cultural understanding of the people that you are calling, that goes a long way to begin with. I think you're a lot more likely to be trusting of someone who has the demeanor and cultural, understanding of your region than someone somewhere across the country.
Contrace was founded when coronavirus cases started popping up in the U.S. It helps public and private groups with contact tracing efforts. The group encourages every state and local government to work with phone providers to help people know that calls are coming from contact tracers. Ideally, the call would be identified as the local health department or contact tracing program. More to get to in our lineup. Live music still is not happening in many places. Now venues nationwide are worried that they'll have to close for good. What they're pushing for to stay open.
One of the many events postponed by the pandemic this year was Amazon Prime Day, but it is coming next week. Working for you, John Mattery shows us why you may not want to ignore it so you don't waste your money.
Amazon Prime Day is almost here, but with the big sale falling in October instead of July this year, it really makes sense to think of this as your early Black Friday. Prime Day is normally 2 days of crazy deals in July, but pandemic shortages forced Amazon to postpone it to Tuesday, October 13th and Wednesday, October 14th. DealNews.com's Julie Ramhold says smart shoppers won't wait for Black Friday to do their shopping this year.
I would advise people to make it a holiday shopping event if they're not already, especially given that we've seen shipping delays all year.
Julie expects big markdowns on all Amazon-related items, such as Alexa devices, Ring doorbells and cameras, Fire Sticks, Kindles, Amazon Basics merchandise, plus lots of electronics and kitchen items. It should be more holiday-themed and less of a summer yard sale this year. But from the Doesn't That Stink file, the downside of holiday shopping in October instead of on Black Friday. It can be tough choosing gifts so far in advance. Plus, you don't get to touch and see everything in person. But during this crazy pandemic year, when stores will be closed on Thanksgiving, shopping early is probably a good idea. With continued product shortages and shipping delays, ordering holiday gifts in October this year really makes sense. So always don't waste your money. I'm John Mattery. Good morning, Indiana.
Check Taking the news feed, new PSAs warn voters of potential problems in the election. In them, security officials lay out steps for how to help counter foreign interference. That includes tackling online misinformation and spotting bogus hacking claims. Officials say they are still confident in the vote. 2 million voters in Houston will not get mail-in ballot applications. The Texas Supreme Court is blocking election officials from sending them out. The all-Republican court is ruling with current state law. There are new restrictions on H-1B work visas. Under the rule, employers will have to pay foreign workers higher wages. The Trump administration says that will discourage U.S. companies from turning to cheaper labor from abroad. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and there are so many options for those who have it and those who beat it to improve their quality of life. Overall, cancer is the second leading cause of death in the United States behind heart disease. There are 250,000 new cases of female breast cancer every year. 42,000 women die from it annually. Male breast cancer makes up about 1 of every 100 breast cancer cases. The Survivor Wellness Center offers patients and survivors integrative treatment to help reduce the stress of fighting the disease.
We need to address the trauma, lower the anxiety, lower the depression, so there's that headspace to then engage in thinking about sleep, nutrition, fitness, mindfulness, meditation, spirituality, or whatever that space is for you, and then the perpetual learning piece.
Dr. John Libbert received his own cancer diagnosis when he was in medical school. He designed his own treatment and says that the 5 pillars he mentioned are essential to help survivors heal the mind and the body.
We're actually talking about this is how to reprogram your cells to behave the way you want them to, which improves treatment outcomes, and quality of life.
Dr. Libbert says 91% of those who come to Survivor Wellness are looking for mental health therapy and to reduce anxiety. For more information on what they offer, go to survivorwellness.org.
It's expected to be one of the biggest exhibits ever at the Indianapolis Museum of Art at New Fields. Today, the museum announced the exhibit coming next year called The Loom Indianapolis. It will take up the museum's entire 4th floor and it will be entirely digital. It will use almost 150 high-definition projectors to transform the works of Vincent van Gogh from 2-dimensional paintings into a 3D experience unlike any exhibit the museum has ever offered.
It's about that invitation that we're giving to everyone to come and look at art differently, and in that completely immersive world that the Loom will be, where you're standing in a painting as it's being painted around you.
The Loom exhibit is scheduled to open at New Fields in June of 2021. Kevin, that looks pretty neat.
Always something to look forward to in Indianapolis, no doubt about that. Temperatures, wow, climbed well into the 80s today. Our record, by the way, was set in 2007. It's 90 degrees. We didn't get there. We're at 84, which happens to be our high temperature for the day. Bloomington's down 6 degrees from their high at 88 degrees. Part of the reason this is possible, our record dry stretch. 50 days now without a single day that's had 1/10 of an inch or more of rain. We've only had 0.12 of an inch scattered over that 50 days in Indianapolis. The warmth stretches all the way back to the west and southwest. Check out Kansas City at 90. The cooler temperatures that you see in Michigan, Wisconsin will drop into central Indiana tomorrow. Temperatures will be around 50 in the morning. That's quite a drop from highs in the 80s. Then tomorrow afternoon, mid-70s. It won't be as windy, but a cooler wind direction out of the north and east. Temperatures Friday, they'll snap right back. A strong southwest wind will carry temperatures again to about 80 for the afternoon high temperature. As you look from north to south, temperatures around 80 or into the lower 80s. That's the way we finish the work week. We'll, of course, talk about rain chances as we move to the weekend. That's still ahead.
It's hard to tell when we'll be able to go to a live concert again or even a night out at the theater. While artists and musicians are struggling, music venues are on the brink of collapse. Chris Conti shows us an effort to keep the curtains from permanently closing.
It courses through the veins. A steady pulse, a constant rhythm.
But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him.
It is music that keeps the heart of Nashville beating. But what happens when the song stops?
We've been closed north of 6 months now. Everybody's out of money.
Chris Cobb hates the silence. He's the owner of Exit Inn in Nashville, a small independent music venue which has been closed since March because of COVID.
It's just not safe. It's just not safe to do what we do right now, unfortunately.
57 employees laid off. Not a concert in months. Close signs are popping up at businesses around the neighborhood who rely on shows to bring customers in. Chris Cobb knows he's next.
Once the money's gone, we close, and we just get closer every day.
From Sheryl Crow to Billy Joel to Jimmy Buffett, all have at one time graced this stage. It's not a giant stadium, but these kinds of spaces across the country are where smaller artists get their start. Daniel Donato is one of them.
Well, I met her down in a red light tavern. I want to create memories that people can go back to.
Without smaller stages to play on, Daniel has lost a substantial amount of income. He's also lost the ability to connect with fans on a visceral level.
The first thing that a musician plays is the venue. They don't play their instrument, they play the venue first.
By the end of the year, live performance venues are expected to lose about $9 billion on ticket sales alone, which is why so many of them are so desperate for some kind of federal help.
It's an existential crisis.
Audrey Fisher is with the newly created National Independent Venue Association.
Independent businesses have never had to ask for help before.
The National Independent Venue Association represents 2,800 independent performing venues around the country. A stunning 90% of members say they will close by year's end without any federal assistance.
It's happening, and every day that goes by is a risk that it happens more, and because people have run out of money.
In recent months, the group has created the Save Our Stages Act, a $10 billion grant program for independent venues with bipartisan support. All they need is a vote in Congress.
We're on the edge of a cliff with a huge number of venues right there at the edge, and they're about to go over, and they won't come back.
And it's not just about the jobs. It's about the music we'll never hear.
Loving while the world goes round.
It's hard to think about American music without this network of independent music venues that have existed in this country for decades now. American music as we know it would not exist. And I'm afraid that that's what we're about to learn the hard way, is that it can't continue to exist as we've known it when these venues all go away.
And living with the shades pulled down all day.
But for now, that's a song Chris Cobb is trying not to write. A hope that the sun doesn't permanently set on some of the nation's most beloved stages.
We will survive.
In Nashville, I'm Chris Conti.
A large restaurant chain is filing for bankruptcy protection. That starts our newsfeed. Ruby Tuesday will permanently close almost 200 locations as it tries to improve its finances. It's also had to temporarily furlough nearly all 7,000 employees. Wells Fargo is also cutting back. More than 700 positions in commercial banking were eliminated, but sources tell Bloomberg this is likely just the beginning. Other banks are reducing staff, but Wells Fargo is also dealing with controversy with diversity and account fraud. Meanwhile, home improvement giant Lowe's is taking care of its workers, handing out bonuses this month to hourly staff. They're between $100 and $350. That's on top of the hourly raises that they gave this year. Home improvement supplies have been in high demand through the pandemic. Finally, in our lineup, while many small companies struggle, business for landscapers is booming. We're looking at what's behind the growing demand. One industry that's fared well during the pandemic is lawn care, which is largely made up of small businesses. The National Association of Landscaper Professionals surveyed members and found 80% of companies say their customers are spending more.
People are at home and they're focused on their properties and they are wanting to enhance them and make them look great.
The head of the association explained lawn care was deemed essential during the pandemic because it helps protect properties from pests, rodents, and other consequences of overgrowth. Because they were able to stay open and people were spending more than half of lawn care companies are on target to beat their expected profits, and 84% are hiring.
This is like no other year that we've ever seen. Thankfully, we are growing and we are hiring, and we're hiring at every level.
Christian Berzins is the owner of one of those landscape companies. He says the biggest demand has been in design build.
And realizing that, wow, if we're going to spend a lot more time at home, we'd like to have it, have some a fire pit where we can spend time with family and enjoy, or close friends, or finally put that patio in that we've been wanting instead of the muddy backyard kind of a thing.
The CDC has said being outdoors and hosting outdoor meals for the holidays or gatherings is safer than indoor events. Research from Harvard also found mood disorders can be lifted by spending more time outdoors.
Sometimes your outdoor space is really what can provide you some calm and some relaxation. And we really do enhance, that surrounding and make it so that you have a better atmosphere to kind of relax and enjoy your time.
Virus cases have also remained low within the landscape industry because it's outdoors and workers are usually socially distant. COVID-19 has forced change, and that includes how criminals operate. Drug cartels along the Mexico-U.S. border are changing their tactics. Tomorrow, we'll show you the new battle for U.S. Border Patrol agents.
And as you know, sun sets at about 7:15. You don't want it to set tonight. It's been a spectacular day. Temperatures that are in the 80s will end up around 50 as we go to the morning hours tomorrow. A little bit cooler tomorrow afternoon, staying in the mid 70s. That's all for the news at 5:30.